is second reading when?
Today and now, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Speak. I now put the question. The question is that second reading of Bill number 23 of 2025 be taken today. Those of that opinion say aye. Those of the contrary view say no. The ayes have it and the motion is carried.
Second reading, Bill number 23 of 2025, Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Elections.
Honorable colleagues on my left, can I have order, please? I was getting guidance here that if you read the instruments, it says that the bill should be taken today. So we cannot refuse that. What we have the right to do is at an appropriate time, if we're not comfortable with it, we can. Sorry? Well, that's what I'm being guided, that's what is in the instruments. Honorable Minister of Justice, proceed, please.
The House seeks to amend the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Elections Act of 2023 in order to provide for polling staff, representation of candidates and political parties and officers from civil associations to vote at polling stations where they are deployed on that day. Madam Speaker, in this present section, in this present form, Section 74 of the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Elections Act provides that a registered voter shall vote only.
Members, I'll give you point of orders after he's taken. I'll give you the point of order. I'll give you Cholo Central. I'll give you immediately after. I'll give you. Yes, after the presentation of the minister, I'll give you the point of order. Yes, even leader of opposition, I'll give you.
There's over 80,000 registered voters. We will not be able to vote and would be disenfranchised. In this regard, therefore, Madam Speaker, the bill proposes an amendment to Section 74 of the Act to provide for the Malawi Electoral Commission to be able to authorize, upon application, a member of polling staff of the Commission, a representative designated by the Commission to monitor the elections, a member of the Defense Force, the Police Service, or any other state security personnel stationed at a polling station to provide security, to be able to vote at a polling station where they have been deployed on that day. Madam Speaker, allow me to invite this Honorable House to support the Presidential, Parliamentary and the Local Government Elections Amendment Bill 2025. I beg to move. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable Member, Leader of Opposition, you were rising, you said on a point of order. I give you the floor. Honorable members, can we resume our seat? You can see we're having a meeting. Let's resume our seats, please.
Right, Honorable Speaker. First of all, thank you for granting me the right of point of order. Is it in order that this Parliament was summoned in order to deal with a constitutional crisis which had arisen? Is there any constitutional crisis which has arisen? There is nothing which has arisen as a constitutional crisis. I'm saying this, Right Honorable Speaker, because we had all the time when we were here, why was this issue not raised? One. Two, we know that the military people and others have got provision in the Constitution to vote early, as I know. And three, we know also that people have always had rights in their own areas to vote. Now, what constitutional crisis? Let's not make an abuse of power and also based on your numerical strength. Let's be realistic on the basis of the situation as it stands in the country. When we are talking about constitutional crisis, it should have been a few crises, maize crisis, and other things, but not an issue which has been with us all this time. And finally, how can you introduce this a month before the election? Does it make sense? There is no constitutional crisis. There is something sinister motives. I want to say there is sinister motives involved in this whole issue.
Honorable member, Honorable Leader of Opposition, point of order is a minute. I just wanted maybe to go back again, read what the Constitution says, Honorable Leader of Opposition, because that time there was, no. He has asked, I have to respond again. If you go back to the Constitution, not our standing orders, but our Constitution, 67(4), and I'll read. If between the dissolution of the National Assembly and the general election that follows, the President is of the opinion that a constitutional crisis or emergency, wait, Honorable Member, wait for me to read the whole section. A constitutional crisis or emergency has arisen which requires urgent legislation or consideration by the National Assembly. He or she may reconvene the National Assembly for that purpose alone. But in any event, that reconvened National Assembly shall stand dissolved on the date of the general election. Now, it's the opinion of the President. In terms of whether it's a constitutional crisis, an emergency, it's the President's opinion and nobody else. Thank you. Honorable members, oh yes, I know Charles Central had given you the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and I'll wait for your attention. Madam Speaker, thank you very much for according the people of Cholo Central the opportunity. I agree with the Constitution. I agree with you. But we are members of Parliament that are representing the people. Our view is that we needed to be explained so that we are aligned. Number one, we respect the opinion of the President. Number two, we understand it is going to be a constitutional crisis or emergency. we want to be explained so that we understand what is the emergency. Or if it is the constitutional crisis, what is the crisis? So that as we represent our people, we know exactly what is the emergency and what is the constitutional crisis, if any. We represent the people. We are not here under our own right. Our people wants to know what is the emergency or what is the constitutional crisis. That's all we're asking. Once that has been explained to us on what is the emergency, we are free to flow on the floor. But to come to Parliament and then it is just being dictated to us, to then engage in a discussion, it is not right. So, Madam Speaker, kindly take time to explain. Yes, it's opinion of the President. The opinion is on what? Is it a constitutional crisis or is an emergency? If it is an emergency, what is the emergency? So that then we represent our people very well.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Cholo Central. I'm sure that's a question you have said I should explain. I don't think there's any way that gives provision for me to explain whether it is a constitutional crisis or an emergency, but probably in the explanation either I can see the leader of the House or the minister can explain the reasons, but there's nowhere where it says we need to be given as Parliament that explanation, but I'm sure they can give out if they have any explanation, and it doesn't clearly say, it just says if the President feels that needs to be done. No. We are not on question. If you have questions, then obviously I have to give you. You were asking for a point of order, and no. Honorable member for honorable member for Cholos, honorable member for Cholos, and honorable leader of the House.
Thank you so much, Right Honorable Speaker. Indeed, when the President calls for an emergency sitting of Parliament, he gazettes that for us to first understand. And in the Gazette, the President has stipulated the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Act. That's the business. Number two, the bill was circulated and the Minister has read in the second reading why we have to do that. The Constitution is very mindful on the rights of people. Apart from right to food, right to education, there's a right to vote. And anyone who is a Malawian eligible to vote, registered voter, must not be denied a right to vote. What this amendment is doing is actually trying to come up with a solution to what is a crisis now, because quite a number of people who are Malawians, registered voters, public officers, teachers, soldiers, police officers, will not have the right to vote if this is not amended. The reason is this. I'm holding the floor.
Honorable member, I'll give you the floor after. I'll give you the floor after the honorable.
In 2022, there was a repealing of the law. The law is very clear. Before 2022, if a soldier, a police officer, or a public officer designated by Malawi Electoral Commission has been given a responsibility at a center where they did not register that particular center, the law then allowed them to get a transfer there and allowed to vote. The repealing of the law in 2022 deleted that very important clause. In this case, these soldiers, these public officers, if they have been assigned to work at a very different center, other than a center they registered, it simply means they cannot transfer. They will be denied a constitutional right to vote. What we have come here is simply trying to do that amendment to allow
these public officers to vote at a center they are being assigned. As I sit here, as we all sit here, no one knows where these police officers will be deployed. And if we force them to go and be at the place where they registered, there will be polling centers in this country where there will be no police officers and army officers and indeed public officers. That anomaly is what is a constitutional crisis, because the right to vote for those people has been violated. What we are asking Malawians of goodwill who were appointed in this house is to allow every citizen in this country, first of all, those that already registered, they are not going to do any registration. They have a valid registration card. They are Malawians and eligible to vote, but they have been assigned to go and work elsewhere. Where they have been assigned to go and work, they will introduce their voter registration. They will be checked if they registered. Then the law allows them at that particular time to vote. Much bigger. Malawians should be with sometimes and say, this law is very clear. And because more people are going to deny that, it pleased His Excellency to listen from the public and allowed that as members of parliament, consider Malawians eligible for vote. Therefore, there's no in this bill to allow us to. Now, when you have opinion, express it. And we must say you are all members of parliament and you can decide by showing your votes and numbers. Let us allow that. When you differ. But when it's time to vote so that we progress as a nation. Just because you feel like you can't allow that should not deny others as well to vote. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. And honorable colleagues, I just wanted to take you back to the communication that was being read by the Clerk of Parliament before I made my communication. And this was from the Gazette notice. I think it was paragraph 3, and it says, and whereas a matter relating to the exercise of the right to vote enshrined under section 40 part 3 of the Constitution has arisen, requiring urgent consideration by the National Assembly and enactment of legislation with respect to the conduct of the forthcoming general election to be held on 16 September 2025. This is coming from Gazette notice from the President. So he did state on plan we should, but obviously when the Clerk of Parliament was reading this, there was a lot of noise, and I'm sure we were not able to pick up that's already stated. Thank you. Oh, members, can we make progress? No, yes, yes, honorable member for Machinga Ikwenu, and then there was Machinga.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to raise a point of order. I would like to raise a point of order on the question of the right to vote. Madam Speaker, this probably will be our 7th or 8th general election in this country since 1994. Why has this problem arisen? What was happening in the previous elections? These people were voting. The people that deserve to vote were voting under Section 67(3) of the Constitution, which allows the military and the police to vote before the date of the election. And they can vote even now before the date of the election. Why is it that they want this to happen now. Let me explain on the right to vote. Madam, if you transfer somebody from Lilongwe to go and monitor elections in Mzuzu, he can only vote for the president, but the ballot paper for his member of parliament or his councillor will not be in Mzuzu. So his right to vote for his member of parliament or his councillor will not be provided. So we are here only trying to vote for the president. For most people, the person that matters is also his member of parliament that deals with his daily issues in his constituency. So of the three votes that a person is entitled to, the amendment will only address one right to vote of the president, but not of the councillor. Additionally, and this is very important. Additionally, when you look at the current provision, we are amending a 2023 law created by this government. All the time, people were voting and there was no problem. They created the problem in 2023, and now it is a crisis according to them. This is not a crisis. The law we are amending today, madam, was created in 2023 when the gentleman right across here was the Minister of Justice. They made this law.
Honorable member for Machingali Kwenu, I'm sure you're going into substantive debate. What I wanted to ask,
has an emergency or a constitutional crisis arisen, or it has been created? It deliberately created in order to ensure that surreptitious people vote on this day. The ballot papers that were found in Kanengo are the ones that are going to be voted for on this particular day.
Honorable members,
and you are respecting only one right to vote of the president. What about the member of parliament? What about the council?
Thank you. Honorable member of Machingali Kwenu and the rest of the members, can I have order, please, honorable members? Can we have order? Can we have order? Honorable members, I wanted us to proceed procedurally. Can I have order, please, honorable members? Order, please. Honorable members, can I have order on both sides, please? Order. Honorable members, I wanted us to proceed procedurally. Can I have order, please? Please, order. I wanted us to proceed procedurally. I know there's honorable member for Machinga East, Mzimba North, as well as Blantyre City South. I was wondering, and Rumpi East. I wanted us to proceed procedurally. Let me ask the spokesperson from the DPP to respond, and the spokesperson from UDF. Immediately, I'll give you spaces, the honorable members that I've mentioned, to take the floor. Let's proceed procedurally. The spokesperson from DPP, and then I already have Mzimba North, Machinga East, and Rumpi East and Blantyre South East. I'll give you after the spokesperson have taken the floor. And for those that want to go and have their cup of tea, you are free to go and have a cup of tea. Thank you. The spokesperson from DPP.
Madam Speaker, it seems that
members, can we have order? Let's hear the honorable spokesperson in silence, please.
Madam Speaker, I waited with bated breath to hear the Honorable Minister of Justice explain to this House what constitutional crisis has arisen or emergency. He missed on that critical point It took the leader of the House to attempt to explain the crisis. But, Honorable Speaker, there is no crisis. There is no crisis in this country because, as is stipulated in the Constitution, you can make arrangement for special categories of people. And if the people that are being addressed today do not fall in that category, then they are not considered by the Constitution. But the Constitution says special categories of people can vote before. So if there is anyone that needs to vote, that will be busy on the election day, the Constitution has made provision for those people to vote before. So, with the greatest respect, Madam, when you have a situation that was addressed fully, if you ask the Honorable Minister, the provision that we are trying to reintroduce today was criticized by the Constitutional Court, by the Supreme Court during the 2019-2020 elections. And we came here to amend the law to comply with what the Supreme Court said. And that's why we have the 2023 law, which we are trying to amend today to revert to the original position that was criticized by the Supreme Court. What is your position, Honorable Minister? This law we are trying to amend today was introduced on the floor by yourself, Honorable Minister. And you are saying now it's a constitutional crisis. And I would like to re-emphasize, Madam Speaker, that the right to vote, I am entitled to vote for the president, but I'm also entitled to vote for the member of parliament, and I'm also entitled to vote for my councillor. Now, if you send me to Ntalile, I come from Machinga, the ballot paper for the member of parliament will not be in Ntalile. The ballot paper for my councillor will not be in Ntalile, but the ballot paper for the president will be there. That is the point I'm trying to make to you, that we have had seven general elections. Why do we have the price today? MEC must have institutional memory of how this matter is managed. You are only creating this situation in order to allow surreptitious voters to come and steal the vote of the president only. That is your worry. It is the presidential vote that is the problem. So, Honorable Speaker, the Minister of Justice has not explained the crisis. The situation we find ourselves is can be remedied under the current law, under the Constitution. The people can vote in advance, and the problem that they are saying exists was created by the Honorable Minister that is trying to remedy the situation now. So there is no emergency. Nothing has a reason that is new. They knew all along that some people would have problems voting on the day because they'll be deployed elsewhere. That is obvious. When the people that are supposed to monitor and manage the elections go all across the country voting in places that are not their homes, we knew that all along. Why is the amendment coming now? A sleeping government or a crooked government? A sleeping government or a crooked government? What is going on?
Sleeping minister.
Honorable Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this bill be rejected because it has sinister objectives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, spokesperson from DPP. Spokesperson UDF.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for recognizing United Democratic Front, UDF, to add their voice on the amendment under debate. Madam Speaker, you may recall that United Democratic Front is one of the political parties which brought democracy in this country. And starting from the time, Madam Speaker, we started voting in this country, we have been seeing men in uniform participating in all the elections. And there are procedures which has been being followed by the Malawi Electoral Commission, the ones responsible for managing the elections, to allow them to vote even before the day of voting. And this is not new to all of us. Madam Speaker, we did not remove any clause when we were amending this bill concerning the voting of these very important people. So, Madam Speaker, I would like, Madam Speaker, I would like to echo to say that I would want to agree with the spokesperson from DPP. Unless if I'm told that Malawi Electoral Commission, they do have mechanisms which will assist these people to vote for their councillors as well as members of parliament back home. Because they're responsible to vote for councillors and members of parliament is in the hands of the communities around that area. Because they know their councillor, they are able to know their MP, they have listened to their manifestos, and they would want to choose the better candidate among themselves. So someone from another district or another constituency or another ward cannot go to this particular ward and support the communities there to elect a councillor, which will not be, this guy will not be at this particular area forever. It will be a once-off vote and they'll go back to their respective homes. So unless, Madam Speaker, if we are indeed trying to address this issue, we have to address it holistically. That if we would want these Malawians to participate in voting, we do agree with that, but we would want them as well to vote for their councillors whilst they are at working place. We would want them as well to vote for their MPs while at their working place. So we are trying to bring a half-baked law that is addressing one issue, and the other issue is still addressing what we Malawians want. So the amendment does not have any clause explaining mechanisms which Malawi Electoral Commission has put in place to assist these Malawians to participate fully in voting for their councillors, members of parliament, as well as their president. So as much as we agree that this is a very important issue to allow those Malawians who will be responsible for monitoring and working at the electoral or the polling stations, but what about the other issues? So, Madam Speaker, I would want to ask this House to defer this bill. We put mechanism that will answer the support of these people to vote for their responsible councillors and members of parliament. We should not do a half-baked issue just because we are rushing. This is why even at the first time we did not address this issue, because of doing things in a hurry, doing things with the power, the same power given by Malawians. Can we do better for Malawi? Can we allow each and every citizen to vote for their councillors and members of parliament? Why are we rushing for one-way presidential vote? Madam Speaker, if indeed we are trying to address the constitutional matter, the right to vote, we need also to support these people to vote for their councillors as well as members of parliament. Remember, with councillors and members of parliament, we are using first past the post. So if we are having 20 officers at a polling station and they are voting for a councillor whom they don't know, a member of parliament whom they have never heard about, about, I think it is now we are creating a serious constitutional crisis, Madam Speaker. With these few remarks, Madam Speaker, we differ. Can we do better? Can we look into these things? How best can we support these people? We should not do things in a hurry just because it is favoring me or favoring the United Democratic Party. No, we are here for Malawians. Malawians are listening. And on the same note, Madam Speaker, yesterday the public was informed. Our Committee on Legal Affairs, they had an interface meeting on the same issue. They called MEC and all other stakeholders. We were expecting to receive a report from the chair of Legal Affairs Committee. But why is it not we are having a report, Madam Speaker? Why is it that we are proceeding without any report, what has transpired during their meeting with stakeholders? Madam Speaker, with these few remarks, United Democratic Front is of the opinion that we reject until we address those issues I have outlined, then we go forward. I submit, Madam.
Thank you very much, Honourable Member for Machinga East. I just wanted to respond to your last part. Honourable Member for Machinga East, we do have a report. I just wanted to clarify, you're saying we don't have a report. And procedurally, you do know that we get the spokespersons first. After the spokespersons, it is the chair of the report to give us a report. So there's nothing that we have not done that is procedure. So we do have a report. So I hope that part of your presentation will be ignored. Chairperson of the Legal Affairs Committee.